Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Well, as of right now, who has not heard of the ongoing separation case involving Corey Hardwick and his wife, Tamia Mowry? Now, this has garnered a lot of news because the couple have been together as a married couple for 14 years, but they've actually been together for over 20 years. And this is one of those marriages that people do not want to see an ending to. They would like to see them hopefully work it out. So this has caused a lot of discussion among people. And I was just watching a video last night on YouTube where I got into a disagreement with a caller. I should say a poster rather, about this particular couple. Actually, it was about Tia. And she says right here, sorry, but the twins are not black. They are biracial. There is a difference, neither better or worse than the other. They come from two distinctly different ethnic, racial, and cultural backgrounds. I find it weird that this even has to be pointed out. Now, she wrote this in response because there was like a lady who said that she was Corey's neighbor over 20 years ago, before Corey got his foot in the door in Hollywood. So she claimed that she had some information about Corey, and one of the gripes that she had about Tia, she said that she was very upset with Tia because Tia is a biracial who identifies as black. Now, we're going to get into that, but I want to give you my response to her because my response went like, and you seem to not understand that there is a difference how one chooses to self-identify and what they are racially. And race in America is a political social construct that has never fully been agreed upon. But no one has the right to tell someone what they are and how they should be, self-identify. I put sell there. But anyway, must have been writing fast. But anyway, she wrote back talking about, well, if Taya wants to be delusional, she can. And then I wrote something back to her. But here's the thing that I want to touch on. I want to touch on biracials and how they choose to self-identify. And I want to touch on, are they black? Are they biracial? But I do want to point out something that many people seem to not understand when they take a stance that they are biracial. When you say they are biracial, biracial is not a self-identity. It is not a racial group. It's not a racial makeup. It doesn't really define anything. I mean, it almost like defines everything and nothing. And what I mean by that is that there's so many different combinations of biracial. You could be black and Asian, black and white and Asian, black and Indian, white and Indian. See there? So therefore, there will be no distinct category that someone who is choosing to self-identify as biracial that they will box themselves into. Now, let me say one thing in regards to that. If a person, I'm going to say who is half black and half white, chooses to be biracial or choose to use that particular term as self-identifying, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to fight them. I would never tell someone that no, they're not biracial. My stance is this here. If a biracial person, and understand I'm talking about a black and other combo, chooses to self-identify as black, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not going to tell them that they are not black. And the reason why I'm not going to tell them that they're not black, because basically biracial people like black Americans have gone through slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, lynching, redlining, the war on drugs, mass incarceration, and are continuing to go through systematic institutional racism. So basically, a biracial who is black and white, for the most part, they pretty much have the same history that any black Americans with two black parents have. And they have gone through the same trials and tribulations that most black Americans with two black parents have gone through. No one is going to look at a biracial person, a racist white person, let's say, or a racist institution, and say, or they're going to be half racist. They're not going to be sometimes racist. They're not going to be a little bit racist. They're not going to be a lenient racist because someone is biracial. I think that black people need to get out of this notion of trying to kick biracials out of blackness. It is not our place to kick them out of blackness. Many of them have fought hard for rights that we are enjoying today. So, Frederick Douglass? Seriously, there's been a lot more than that. Because he was identified as a black man. Most biracials today, when people look at them, they are not going to see the white parent. They are going to see a black parent. In the case of Scary Spice here, when she was in Spain, she was asked to leave a store when she was there with the other Spice Girls because the racist owner or that particular person considered her to be a black woman. This is the point of which I'm trying to make. They are pretty much going to be given the full black treatment. No one is going to be a little bit of racist or bi-racist or half racist when dealing with a biracial person. White people do not see coloration the same that black people do. Yes, we can get all caught up into the light and dark concept, but they pretty much just see a black person. And what's strange is that a lot of biracials, most of them know this because they live it. It's black people who seem to want to take this notion that somehow they have this distinct advantage or somehow they're taking something away from us. I don't feel that a biracial male is taking anything from me. First of all, there's not really that many. If you really look, what are they, like 7% of the black American population, those who choose to self-identify as that? There's not that many. So I don't feel threatened by them. And I just think that we need to be very careful in trying to be the race police because no one has nominated anyone, as far as I know, to make a determination as to who and what is black. And as I've always stated, it has not really been fully agreed upon. We can go to country. We can go from different time frames. It's always changing, always evolving. Claudia Schiffer here, she identifies as black, even though she's biracial. She has stated, too, that no one has ever been half racist towards her. And she has a good point, and I completely agree with that. And when you start to say these things that somehow they are biracial, here's the problem right here. These are all biracial people. How would you categorize them? So when you say biracial, you can look at them, the different combinations right there, and you can clearly see that they probably would not have the same experience. They would not have the same culture, probably would not have the same upbringing. So biracial means everything, but then it means nothing. It's almost like leaving someone out there in the open sea. However, if people choose to make that distinction, they want to identify as biracial, go ahead. I won't stop anyone. And I would not claim anyone who do not claim to be black or who do not want to be black. It's not about forcing people to choose. They have a right to choose how they want to choose. And speaking of choosing, it's a very individual and personal decision that that particular person has to make for themselves. It is not up to black people to make that decision as to how one chooses to self-identify. It is not up to white people to make that decision. It is not even up to other biracial people to make that decision. That is one's individual and personal decision, how they choose to self-identify. With that being said, let me say this. I do believe that black people should police blackness. I think that we need to stop at biracials. A black and any other combination should be, if they want to, considered black. However, I'm not for a biracial person like Halle Berry's daughter or the children of Diana Ross. Some of them who are half black, half white, reproducing with other whites and then claiming that they are black. That to me is going too far, and that's very destructive to the black community. The reason why it's destructive is because then you're talking about replacing blackness. And not only that, it's nonsensical to me. If you're 70% white, why shouldn't you be considered white? I'm not at all for the one drop rule. I don't believe in that. Majority white, you should be considered white. I'm arguing that black people with a combination of black and other should be considered black if they choose to identify as being black. If not, then we'll leave them alone. They can have a great life. So therefore, this whole argument that I'm getting upset with Mowry because she's choosing to identify as a black woman. Maybe you have some black women who are feeling that she has an advantage by taking men away. Or maybe they feel that somehow she's interfering with their space. Maybe they feel like she has an advantage, or biracial women have an advantage. But there's not that many. There really isn't. So I just think that we have to realize that when bridges are built, we cannot determine who walks upon them. And we need to understand that individually, no one has nominated either of us to be the race police. We can make suggestions. We can throw our opinions in there. But in the end, it's still going to be that particular person's decision to make. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. And I will see you all beyond and through.